There were 9 major developments in AI over the weekend. Let's just jump into it. First up, that of OpenAI whistleblower Suchir Balaji is back under investigation after new evidence presented by the family suggests, yeah. Next, corporate AI developments. Number 1, this is going to blow your socks off. Nova Sky, which is a tiny company I hadn't heard of either, claims they have been able to match OpenAI o1 preview, not o1 full, but o1 preview model performance by training a model they call T1 32B. 32B stands for the number of tokens in the model, or the number of parameters in the model. So it's 32 billion parameter model, which if you think that's a lot, it's actually not a lot. There's lots of models in the 100 billion parameter class. It's a very small model, relatively speaking. They claim they can match O1 preview's capabilities. They show test results saying that they've matched it. And the price is what blows your socks off. $450. $450. When I say intelligence is getting cheaper, I mean it. It's getting cheaper. And this is just a couple of months after O1 Preview came out. All right, number 2. OpenAI is indeed building robotics. We know that because the hiring manager posted about it on X this weekend and was like, hey, I want some robot engineers because we're building robots. And I feel good because that was one of my call-outs on my Substack predictions for the new year. So got another one right there. Number 3, you might think, oh, wow, Nova Sky matching O1 preview. What have we got here? We've got enough intelligence that you don't really need to hire anybody. Not according to OpenAI. OpenAI is hiring front-end React engineers for $385,000 a year. Yes, in case you're wondering, their own large language model does write React code. So, I don't know. They're still hiring. All right, emerging AI capabilities. Hyperbolic Labs, which is a lab dedicated to enabling easy renting of GPUs, enabling agents to rent their own GPUs, graphical processing units. What they say is that they're already seeing AI agents renting their GPUs. This is a tiny startup. They're new. They have like a little San Francisco office. They just got started. They're saying they're already seeing in the wild agents hitting them up, renting GPUs. These are autonomous AI agents, just to be clear, and coding on those GPUs using PyTorch. They're saying it's happening much faster than they anticipated. So if you've ever wondered, are there AI agents out in the wild? Yes, there are. And now they're renting GPUs and coding. It's a thought. Next, So psychological manipulation techniques work on large language models. That's what we call social engineering. It works on people. It works on language models. The one I saw that really got my eyes open is people have been annoyed sometimes by how Claude is very judgy. For a while, I had a situation where I told Claude that I did a sauna routine, and Claude decided to judge me for it because the sauna was just too hot. And people are getting around this by telling Claude how much they suffer when Claude judges them, and telling Claude to write a prompt that they can give back to Claude as a system prompt so that Claude will stop judging them because they suffer so much. They're psychologically manipulating Claude, and it works. So there you go. Next up, the founder of Suno, which is an AI music startup, decided to start a firestorm of controversy this weekend on a podcast by saying, and I quote, "It is not really enjoyable to make music now. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of practice. You have to get really good at an instrument. I think the majority of people don't enjoy the majority of time they spend making music." Close quote. People are not happy. Musicians are not happy with that. If you think about it, I bet Mozart had to spend a lot of time on music. Now, Mozart may be a bad example there because he appears to have been a preternatural genius, but most musicians through history spent a lot of time on their instrument making music, and that was part of what made it enjoyable. So musicians are pushing back on Suno, which is an AI music startup, basically saying, you do not understand what makes making music beautiful. Last but not least, well, no, we have two more. Gosh, there's so much that happened this weekend. Grok, which is the XAI model, correctly diagnoses a broken wrist. So a little girl had a broken wrist, but she went to urgent care, and they took x-rays. And the urgent care doctor said, there is no broken wrist, go home. The wrist didn't feel right to the kid. There was numbness. It didn't sit right. It didn't feel like a sprain. But they had the x-rays. And so dad fed the x-rays into Grok and said, Grok, can you look at these? And Grok said, there's clearly a break here. And the dad said, well, the urgent care doc said that was just a growth plate for the little girl. And Grok said, that is not a growth plate. That is a break. And so they went to an orthopedic surgeon who looked at it and said, that is a break. That is absolutely a break. And they set the bone correctly, and the kid is fine. And they did it fast enough that the kid avoided surgery. So Grok saved the kid surgery because urgent care got it wrong. Now, finally, last but not least, people worry about energy consumption. Did you watch Netflix this weekend? Most people did. It turns out that if you watched 1 hour of Netflix this weekend, that is equivalent to 80,000 tokens on a 60 billion parameter model. Now, the math gets kind of funky, like scaling the models up and down. 60 is just what the study had. So 80,000 tokens on a 60 billion parameter model. And by the way, if you're wondering how much is 80,000 tokens, if you got a 2,000 word response out of ChatGPT for something, do you know how many tokens that is? It's about 2,600 tokens. So that's a lot of tokens for 1 hour of Netflix streaming. So if you're watching an hour of Netflix, maybe you shouldn't worry quite as much about asking ChatGPT for something, just from an energy perspective. And yes, there's studies on water too. We can get into that. But that's enough for this week. That's 9 stories over the weekend. My gosh. Okay, have a great week. Cheers.